Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed, and today we're going to make a thing for my pencil cases. A pencil case, brush case, kind of whatever. For these ones, I made on the Kuhn & Felt channel, and the link will be up in the corner where you can check this one out. And I sewed the whole thing, and it's really quite cute. I made one for my daughter and my son. They picked out the little iron-on thing. It's a Joy iron-on letter, and I am absolutely in love with this one, so I'm hijacking it. And it's to fit their pencils. I mean, it's really super simple. I mean, you can't get much harder than this. But I kind of tired of sewing and I wanted to make one for myself, so I'm going to do one using my Fabric Tack Superhead adhesive. The first step I did is I went through and I cut out felt. And you guys know my favorite colors are blue and green, and since I already had the blue out for my son, I pulled out sections of blue. Now, I cut these to be 3.5, and so they're not 3.5 inches wide. I found that it was a nice, good size for width. And then I pulled out some of my paint brushes, and I'm kind of measuring off the length or the height of where I want to go. I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to glue the edges of this entire thing. These ones I sewed, so if you want to see how to do the sewing technique, check out there. I am going to sew the button on though. That is one technique I am going to do on this one. I just feel like it's going to be tugged too much. So we're going to stick a button on, and sewing a button's not too bad. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the length of my paintbrush. I'm giving myself a little bit of some room to groove here, and I want to be able to see kind of the top of my paintbrush. And so I am just coming in and I am measuring to cut right about here. So I'm just doing the top layer. It's just purely, I didn't have to have those layered on top. Now that I see where my top layer is, I'm just going to trim it off. Super scientific here, right? Scissors, and that's it. Your felt and all you need. Kuhn & Felt's made from 100% recycled products, which I think is fantastic. And what I'm doing now is I'm measuring where I want my button to go. So I'm folding this over, and I want my button, I want this actually to go a little bit higher, so that way I have some room to groove. I'm just checking that this is not, yeah, it's just going to fit. So this is for what I would call shallow paint brushes. You're not going to be able to fit anything that's super, super tall. These are my Princeton paintbrushes, and they do fit fine. So there we go. You put, again, pencils would work too. I could grab a pencil real fast and it would easily fit in here. So this could be work for, lots of uses. I could even throw some markers in here. Nice small little case, nothing fancy. And then I'm going to mark where I want to have my button, which is right here. And I'm just going to use a white thread. I'm not too worried about it. And I'm going to sew this in place. So it's super duper hard. So I made each one for my kid, and I got kind of jealous because I didn't have one. But they got to pick out what they wanted. My son, they picked out the color of the felt, which I think is pretty fun. They also got to pick out the color of the iron-on embellishment from Joy. There's so many fun new pretty ones that are all with like flowers and stuff in them, and I am truly, this is I think my favorite one that has come out with their new flower embellishments. They're just so pretty. So I had to make one for myself. You never know. I might want a pencil case to take with me somewhere. But, if you change the dimensions a little bit on this, you could also turn this into an eyeglass case. So you could make this and put your sunglasses in it or your reading glasses in it. You could also turn this into, if you made it longer, you could use it for longer paintbrushes. You could use this as your scissor holder. There's so many things that you could use and turn this into. It's very, very simple. Okay, so now that this is on there, this is done. The next stage is we're going to come back and we're going to do the slit to put the button once I've glued this all together. So little dab will do ya. I'm going to go and I'm going to put it on to this piece right here. And I'm just going to line the glue, the super tight glue going all the way through. I want to make sure I hit all the levels and all the edges. Just make sure you're kind of going through and getting it everywhere. There we go. Just like this. Applying the glue. This is a kid-safe glue. There's nothing in here that's going to hurt you. Some of the other glues have stuff in it that can cause all kinds of problems, and it's not something I would want to get my kids into. So this is absolutely great for as a kid's craft, where you don't have to worry about the kids sewing, but they could practice sewing a button. I think that's very important. So you put that on there. There's also a coupon code for getting your glue, and it is a % off, and there's also free shipping if you order $5 or more. And you can use the coupon code, which all the links will be down below for all the products I am using today. So then you just put this on top of the other. This is not a fast drying glue, so it will take a little bit for it to do its full thing, but just be patient. Just let it sit, undo its thing. And while it is doing that, I'm going to show you where I'm going to place. So it's just let it sit, let it do its thing. Don't bug it, don't move it. And when it is dry, it'll be fantastic. And then I'm going to place this beautiful flower. Look at that. I've got to kind of rearrange it here so it fits. Might have to. It's an iron-on, so I can kind of manipulate here where my little petals are going and all my flowers. So I can kind of maneuver because it's wherever I want it to iron onto is where it's going to stay. So I love that it kind of comes up and there's like a little hidden something as this folds over. I just think that's pretty. I think that's gorgeous. So I'm just going to let this sit. I'm going to give it a little while to kind of do its drying thing. It says to let it dry for at least an hour, and it's supposed to apply pressure, which I didn't do. So my iron is actually, it's still a little bit warm from the last time I did it when I ironed these guys on. I just finished that. So I'm just applying a little bit of pressure here to make sure that everything is all good in the hood here. Everything is happy. And then once it is dried, I'm going to give this like 30 minutes to do its thing. All you have to do, and you follow the instructions, and I don't need to bore you with this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the button thing. For you guys, it's going to be like hop, skip, and a jump, right? Because the beauty of editing is you're going to set this to the cotton setting. You make sure that you put this on here. I put a piece of parchment paper, and I made this mistake. It's not wax paper. It is parchment paper. And I'm going to have to do down here, and then I'm going to have to come in with the tip of my iron and do up in here by the button. But I want to sew the button on before I do the glue. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to get in here and do the button part. So don't do that. That's just a pain that took us. And then you let it sit for 30 seconds with the iron on there, and it is set. And it is set just as well as these ones are. I mean, they're on there. It is firmly on there, which I love. So I'll be back in a minute, and we'll show you what this is like after I iron this on and let it sit with the glue drying. Okay, so I've let it dry, and it is doing absolutely great. And so I can fit my little brushes in there, and it is good. I went ahead and ironed on my applique here. All right, the next thing I need to do is I need to make the slit to put my button through. So I'm just going to mark off right where the middle of my button is, just a tiny little marking here. And I make my buttonholes up and down like a t-shirt, or like a not t-shirts, or like a button-up shirt, same kind. Just come in, make the slit, make it a little bit longer on either side. And if you did notice, I cut off one of the pieces of the applique that was going up here because you're not going to see it when it's closed. And I thought the top looked a little plain, so we're going to fit in where it's going to best fit on the top of this case. So I need to make my buttonhole a little bit bigger. It's always better to go a little bit smaller than a little bit bigger when it's come time to do your button. There we go. It's hard to, you have too big of a hole, and then you have a problem with your case, and the button, the top flies off. Okay, so the button's going to be there, and so most of the time it's going to be closed or it's going to be opened, and you're not going to see the top. And I don't like my, I kind of probably made that a little too close to the bottom. It's okay, I just have to be careful not to pull. If you think about where I made my buttonhole, I probably made that too close to the bottom. But if I reinforce that with a little bit of thread down there, then this is just what I'm talking about. Right here, there's not a whole lot of space between here, whereas with these two cases, I made the space a little bit further apart, and I'm afraid over time this would rip. But if I reinforce the space right here with a little bit of stitching, I should be good. All right, so for now, I'm not going to worry about that. I can come back into that later. So now I have this fun little piece, and I thought I would have it where it would just kind of coming off, you know, just a little something, just a little flower. I'm trying to figure out the best way to arrange it so it's kind of coming off. That looks cute. Or do I have it come off this direction? I think I like it like that. You're not going to see this part. I'm going to get rid of. So all you're seeing is this. That looks sweet, right? Just a little something hanging off there. A little something there. So I'm going to unbutton, and I'm going to take this back over and iron this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to iron this right along here. I'm going to snip off this little tail because you're not going to see that part. And when I iron on, I use a piece of parchment paper, and we are good to go. So iron this real fast, and then it is done. So there we go. Cute little flower up there in the corner. Just kind of adds a little something. That there's more to this. If you wanted to add even more, you could do that. And just to unbutton this, There we go. And then I can slide in my brushes if I want. I can use pencils, brushes, matte pencils. So this is a sew and also a no sew version of making cute little pencil cases slash, paintbrush cases, really whatever you want to do, using some Kuhn & Felt, Joy Iron-On letters, and to glue it using the Fabri-Tac super tight adhesive. Links for all supplies are going to be down below, along with the coupon code for the super tight glue. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to check out the one for how to do the sewing version of this, and I will see you guys again later. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.